Hey guys, in this video we are going to work on user email verification, how to send a link to verify his or her email, and also we are going to work on forgetting password to send also a link to reset the password, and we are going to apply rules on our database and our storage to make our website more secure, and also deploy our web app into Firebase hosting. So let's get started. But first let's solve a little problem. In our form, the focus is moving from email into password and also from password into the confirm password. That's because we are using the same field component. So let's solve this problem first. Let's go to this component inside inputs and add another prop. Let's call it autofocus and give it a default value true. And let's pass it here. Let's go now to login and pass that prop. Let's search for password field and give it here autofocus of false. And in confirm password as well. This will leave the focus on our email. And let's go now to change password component. And do the same for the confirm password field. Let's add the prop here. Autofocus to be false. And let's check. Let's open it again. It's perfect now. Now let's create our component verification inside user folder. And let's start building this component. Open is a state that will control this box to open it or close it. Let's give it true as a default value. Let's add material UI alert. Severity is warning. And let's add a button to close this if the user decides to close it. It is a close icon. Let's give it a prop font size to be inherit. And let's add the props of the icon button. The title or the label is close. Size is small. And on a click, we will set the open to be false. This will close this alert. Let's add a bottom margin of 3 for this alert. And let's add the message for the user. Your email has not been verified yet. And the button to take action. Size is small. And on a click, we will build a function verify. Disabled is assigned as a click state. We will create this. And let's give this button line height of initial. Let's create this state. Is a click, set is a click. Default value of false. And let's create our function verify. It is a sync function because we are going to wait for a promise. Let's import our current user, set alert and set loading from our context. When we click on this button, first we will disable it. We will set is a click to true. And we will set loading to be true. Then set loading to be false. And we will place our code in between. Try and catch. We will use send email verification function from Firestore auth and pass it our current user. If this promise results successfully, we will set alert to be true. And we will show information for the user. Data verification link has been sent to his email inbox. Let's give it timeout of 8 seconds and place it on main page. Let's copy this and paste it here in case of error. Severity is error. Let's replace the message with error message. And let's console log the error. Here we need to add a condition to show this alert. We will check if the user email is already verified. If it is not, we will not show this alert. So let's place it inside this condition. And let's place this component in our app component. And let's check. Let's click on verify now. Verification link has been sent. Let's check our inbox. Here's the email. Let's check on the link. Your email has been verified. Let's refresh. And the message has gone. It's working. Let's now work on forgot password. Let's create a component for that. Let's call it reset password. This component is a model content. We will create dialog content. And dialog text. Email field. We need here a reference for this email field. Let's create one. And let's pass it as a prop. On submit, we will create a function handle submit. is a sync function. Will prevent the default action. Let's import set loading, set alert, set model, and model and reset password. This is a function, we will create it in the context. Let's go and create this function. This function will receive the email of the user, and it will retain a promise that will be retained by this function send password reset email. This function receives auth and our email. Let's add it to the value object. And now let's use it here. Await reset password, and we will pass it the value of the email inside email ref object. Let's copy the alert from verification. And in case of success, let's close our model. Set a success alert. Reset link has been sent to your email inbox. Let's paste it also here. Let's change the severity to error and the message to error.message. Here, let's give it 5 seconds and put it in our model not main page. Let's go to our login component, and when the user click on forget password, we will open our model. Title is reset password. And the content is our reset password component. Sorry, here the model is already open. We will just pass the old properties of the model. Let's check now. We forgot to add the submit button. Let's go back to our reset password. And add dialog actions. Inside it, our submit button. Let's save and check. Let's enter our email address. And submit. Let's aim for severity. We will change it to success. Let's check our inbox. It's here. Let's click on the link and add the new password. Save. Password changed. Let's try to log in with this new password. Same email address and the new password. Submit, and it is working. Let's move now and work on Firebase rules. This is our database, this is our collection, and these are the documents. Let's apply more rules to make it more secure. Let's delete this. This is allow everything, so we will make it specific for a collection. This is our gallery collection and all our documents inside it. Will allow read to anyone. In case of adding or creating new document, we will add a condition. Let's create functions here. First function is auth. This function will return true if the user only authenticated, not anonymous user. Another function, we will check if the user is the owner of the request. That means the request contains his UID, not using others' IDs. Request.resource.data.uid means that the request sent from the user contains the UID inside our auth in Firebase. And in case of updating and deleting, we will check that the user is the owner of the resource. The resource is the data stored in our databases already. So we will check if the ID stored in our database is the same as ID of the user inside the request. That means that he can't delete others' records or documents, only the documents that includes his ID inside our database. So in case of adding or creating, we will add two conditions. If the user is authenticated and he owns this request, that means his ID inside this request. And in case of update and delete, we will add also two conditions. The user is authenticated and he owns the record or the document inside our database. That means he is going to delete or update his own record or documents, not others' documents. Let's fix this. And let's publish. This is the UID inside the resource. Let's add also the roles on our storage. We have two subcategories. We have gallery and also we have a profile. Inside the gallery there is ID of the user, and inside it the images added by this user, and also inside the profile subfolder of the ID of the user, and inside it the profile avatar or photo of this user. Let's delete this. We don't want it to allow anything. We will make it specific for these subcategories or subfolders or paths, call it whatever you want. This user ID is the subfolder, and inside it the images. In case of read, we will allow anyone to read the gallery or images of the user. In case of write or delete, we will check that the ID of the user inside the request is the same user ID in the subfolder. And let's copy and paste for the profile subfolder also. The rule is the same. We added two paths here because the default rule is denying. If there's no match here in the rule, the Firebase will deny access to the folder. Let's go and log out and try to add an image. We add no condition in our front end. We're just relying now on the back end of Firebase, and it has failed. Access denied. Permission. User does not have permission to access. Let's log in and try when we are authenticated. Let's log in with Google. Let's refresh. And add image. success because the user is authenticated, and this is a new image. Here is a different user. If the user tried to delete others image, look, it is missing or insufficient permissions. This is the response from Firebase. This is protected from backend, not front end. But when he tries to delete his own image, it is success. We need to work now on front end to add a condition not to allow user to add anything unless he is authenticated. We'll add that condition in our form in the button. This is the action triggered that dialog for adding images. Let's import our current user from our context and check if the user is authenticated. Let's import current user and set model. And on handle click function, we will check if the user not authenticated. We will retain and open our model of login. Is open is true. Title is login. And content is our login component. That means we are forcing a user to the login model to login or register. Let's save and check. Let's click without authentication. Now we are redirected to our model. Let's authenticate or login with our account, Google account. Let's now try to add. It's opening. Now let's hide this option to delete others' photos. Let's go to the image list and search for options. Let's add condition here. Let's check if we imported our current user already. Let's import it now. Let's check that the current user ID is the same inside the document of this image. Only in this case we will show the option to delete this image. Let's save and check again. Now only this option appears on users' photos. You can delete here. But he can't delete others' photos. Now we are going to work on deploying our web app into Firebase deployment. This is the steps. First, we need to install Firebase tools. No need to add sudo if your system is Windows. Now let's copy the next command. Because I already logged in, didn't redirect me, so I need to log out. No need for this command. Now I need to paste the command again. Now we're directed to this window. We just need to click on allow, and we logged in. Let's continue. Let's copy this Firebase in it. I am moving using the arrows, and you can select by hitting space on your keyboard. Now press enter. Use an existing project, enter, and I'll choose this project. Which directory we will make it build. And is it single page app? Yes. We are not going to use GitHub to make it automatic deployment. Firebase add the configuration files. You can use the last step, Firebase deploy, if you are not going to hide your keys, but in our case we are going to hide our keys. We are going to put them in environment variables. We are going to install other package to extract our environment variables when we upload it into Firebase. Let's copy these keys. Let's create a file for these environment variables. We will call it .env.local. And it is ignored here. It's not going to be pushed into GitHub when you push your project. And now let's paste these keys here in this file. Let's make our change. Let's replace the old values with the values inside our environment variables. Let's restart our server. And check if it is working again. It is working locally with these environment variables. Let's now install our package env-cmd. This package, we are going to use it to push these environment variables into our Firebase deployment. Let's add a script here for that command. We'll call it build deploy. This is our package, and this is the file where the environment variables sit. We will run build and Firebase deployment -p capital, and the ID of our project, we can copy it from the settings. Let's paste it. Let's save. And run this command. npm run build :deploy. Now it's going to build our project in the folder build and then deploy it into Firebase with the environment variables. This is our new link. Our web app is live and accessible from anywhere. Let's check this link. And it is working.